All right, we'll go ahead and get started for today. Welcome to the mod for this month. Our topic is supports for aging. And my name is Angelina Alpert. I am a research assistant at the University of Missouri Institute for Human Development. Today's objectives are a quick overview of what Missouri No Wrong Door is, learning new ideas and strategies for aging, using Charting the Life course, integrated support star to help you plan and problem solve, and then hearing about different technology options that can help. So just a quick overview of the No Wrong Door. Its goal is to transform the way people access services in the community. So it supports individuals and caregivers to make decisions on complete and accurate information about their options. And this is for anyone that's looking for long-term services and supports, regardless of their age, income, or disability. This is the overarching project that connects UMKC and Missouri Assistive Tech. And for a breakdown of our Missouri Open Door series, if you are new here, our goal for those is opening doors to integrated supports. So here you'll see our integrated support star, which has 5 different areas of services and supports that you want to consider. So we have personal strengths and assets, which are the skills, personal abilities, personal belongings that somebody has that can help them accomplish their goals. We have relationships, which can be family, friends, acquaintances, eligibility specific supports, which are needs-based services, usually government paid. There is some form of eligibility, whether it's income or disability or diagnosis. We have our Missouri Open Door Benefit Series, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, which covers the eligibility specific parts of the STAR. We then have our community-based section, which are things within the community that anybody has access to. There's no kind of eligibility for that. Businesses, parks, membership organizations, local services, things like that. And then finally, we have technology, which is what we're here to talk about today, which can be anything from personal everyday technology, your phone, your laptop, up to more complex assistive or adaptive and environmental technology. So why we talk about integrated supports is that we want to make sure that every individual is included and integrated within their community. Sometimes when you focus just on eligibility and government formal paid services, they can confine a person from their community. And we want to make sure that everyone has the same access to everything that everyone else does. So all of this and the tools that we talk about during these come from the Charting the Life course framework. The framework drives transformational change. There's a set of icons and language, which you see on the right side of the slide. And then there are tools and strategies for implementing them into practice, which help anybody, regardless of disability, plan and strategize for their goals and their good life. So as I mentioned earlier, our topic for today is aging. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about aging. And this information comes from the Department of Health and Senior Services. We have a lot of overlap between No Wrong Door and the Master Plan on Aging. I won't get too much in the Master Plan on Aging, just that it's a framework to help plan for the next 10 years that guides state and local policies. If you wanted to learn more about it, there is a website that's linked at the bottom there that has more information, but the following slide comes from them, which just says that Missouri seniors age 65 and up make up 22.88% of the population. And by 2034, Missouri seniors will make up more than 25% of Missouri's population. And that gap will continue to widen as the population continues to age. And Missouri seniors are predicted to greatly outnumber children by 2060. So just a little bit as why it's so important to talk about supports for aging. So here is a example integrated support star for aging. Some of the personal strengths and assets that are important to consider would be, if you can safely get around your house to help age in place, if you can communicate your needs to your support network and to your doctors, making sure that you have good medication management skills, having hobbies and interests to keep you not isolated from the people around you in the community. And also having money and being able to budget for the additional supports that you may need as you're aging. For relationships, family, friends, neighbors, anyone nearby that would be able to help you out with things around the house or helping you get around the community. Some eligibility specific resources would be assistive technology demo sites, rehab services for the blind, veteran services, independent living centers, Meals on Wheels, and then any Medicaid or Medicare that you may have. Community-based supports are things like senior centers, public transportation, universal design, cleaning services, and social clubs and groups. And then I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Scout, who will fill in the technology part of the STAR for us.
Okay, so I was having some trouble unmuting there. All right, well, thanks everybody for joining us. We are going to talk now about some assistive technology for aging. All right, oh yeah. So the first thing we're going to just kind of go over again is this idea of the levels of assistive technology that are out there. I think we all kind of default towards, computer chip kind of technology when we think about that. But really just even some accommodations, that things that we just modify, or low tech things that are very simple, no components, just a device, are really important parts of assistive technology. And then, of course, we work our way up to the medium and high tech devices that we're more familiar with as far as thinking about technology, computers, smartphones, programs, things like that. All right. We're going to cover kind of 3 areas of, I forgot to put that slide in, but I'm going to cover some hearing topics, vision, and dexterity. So we're going to start with hearing. So I hope you all can hear me today. I did get a new mic, not just for this. So the areas of communication, we have conversations that are face-to-face and conversations that would be distance communication. Another pastime for a lot of individuals is watching TV. So we'll kind of look at that. We'll talk about notifications and even group activities. All right, so what do we do for face-to-face conversations when somebody has hearing loss? I was recently someplace and I was like, it's kind of the worst when you're yelling at somebody, especially somebody who's older, and saying, come back on Tuesday. Okay, so none of us want to yell at somebody, but not everybody has the ability to get hearing aids. So of course, hearing aids would be a separate category. They are the most specific, the most tuned to a person's hearing loss. So I'm not going to cover those. We all have a pretty good idea about that. But what about outside of that? So a personal amplifier, we had one pictured on the last screen and one pictured on this screen. The differences between those 2 personal amplifiers is the number of buttons. The one pictured here has basically 1 button, really simple to use. For some folks, that's going to be really important. I turn it on and turn it up with the same button, and then just scroll down to turn it off. And that's going to amplify the sounds around me. So when I'm having a face-to-face conversation with one person, it's great. If I'm in a noisy restaurant, not so great, because all those sounds are going to be amplified. Even though they do tend to have directional mics, they don't have the same kind of filters that a hearing aid can have. All right, another good option for face-to-face communication is this is called a boogie board or a jot board. I think of it like an old Magnadoodle, where you write on, and then there's a button, much like a home button on many of our old cell phones, and it erases. So just like a face-to-face conversation, after I say my words, they're gone. And this has that ability to, after I write something down, it's gone. So you don't get to look back at something I misspelled. You know, there's none of that lingering paper that we have, you know, when we're trying to write a note back and forth and somebody is self-conscious about their writing ability. With a jot board, you write it, you push the button, and then it's gone. So there is some advantages there. All right, what about over the phone? We have lots of our conversations take place with distance communication. And if I have, I didn't even put an amplified phone on here. So landline phones, we can have a simple amplified phone. We actually run our telecommunication access program. It is a great way to get an amplified phone for a senior in the state of Missouri. If you're interested in that, just contact us or your local independent living center. Some of the, there are landline phones, and for cell phones, there are cell phone amplifiers. I think they're a super easy and great option for folks. So this first picture on the screen is a cell phone amplifier. Again, it basically has one button on it. Really easy to use. Your phone rings, you push that button, you talk on the phone. It's basically just like a Bluetooth speaker, but you hold it up just like a phone. And when your conversation is over, you push that button. When you engage your phone, when you call out, you can also use this. So great option for folks for distance communication. Below on the right, on the bottom picture, is another personal amplifier. So much like the picture on the left of a personal amplifier, but this one has an added capacity of it can Bluetooth to a phone. So that's a really nice feature. You can have a personal amplifier for your face-to-face conversations. You can use the same amplifier for your phone conversations on a smartphone or on any phone with Bluetooth. So that, I feel like that is a great double duty for some of the amplifiers. And then the picture above is a business phone amplifier. So a lot of our seniors are not working, but for those that are, there is a nice, easy to use little add-on piece that can amplify that business line. So anyway, I just thought I would throw that in there. All right, so some other things, other activities or things we want to do are watch TV. And there are a number of TV amplifiers out there, but I'll tell you, they're kind of rapidly changing. So I'm going to show you this one today. It's called the top one that looks like a little box is a Cerionic TV amplifier. It's called the Soundbox. And when I was looking at a website, I saw that some of the models are discontinued and they've made new models. But it is a nice amplifier. The thing that this does is just a speaker, basically. So you put this sitting right in front of the person watching the television with hearing loss, and that sound goes right to them. So it doesn't have to be as loud. Our TVs these days are generally projecting our sound straight out to the side or even to the back if we don't have connected speakers to our televisions. And that makes when we turn up the volume, it is really blasting it fully into the room, as opposed to directed at the person with hearing loss. So we can turn that TV volume down, turn up a volume on a separate speaker, and get that sound right to the individual. Other TV amplifiers, like the one pictured below it, are directed right into somebody's ears. So either with fit over or earbud style headphones, you have that little clip that is, just getting that sound right to the person's ears. So of course that is, no extra sound for the room around, but it does kind of take that person out of conversation with other people when they've got their headphones in. So just different options. And then we have notifications. So, we all need to know what's going on around us. When you have hearing loss, you can miss those things, like your phone ringing or somebody at the door, or even your smoke detector. So there are different systems for ways to alert you to what is going on around you. The top one is called the HomeAware, and it is a device that what's pictured is the main device plus a bed shaker. So basically this would function as an alarm clock. You could set the alarm, and your bed shaker could be set to be the alert to wake you. And it also has a flashing strobe. But with this device, you can connect a variety of pieces into this one kind of hub that will notify you for a wide variety of different events. You can hook up your cell phone to it, so you can be notified when you have a text or a call coming in. You can set up a doorbell, so you would get that same notification when somebody rings your doorbell. Again, the smoke detector, a baby cry, those kinds of events. This does come, it has the option of coming with, so if I'm using this as an alarm clock, it's in my bedroom. It doesn't do me a lot of good if somebody's at my door and the alert is going off in my bedroom. So it does have a separate alerting device, basically that you can have with you or in a room where you are more commonly, so that you can still get all those alerts. And below it is a, oh my gosh, it is not a Bellman. Below it is a different device. We now have a list of all of our devices that it will be available when we send out the recording, and that will be on there. So this is just another alerting system. So the one in the middle is the transceiver. So it will actually receive the messages from things like a door alert or a baby cry or the smoke detector that's pictured here. So you have multiple different options and multiple devices that can go with them for those notifications around your home, no matter what your level of hearing is. All right. So how about group activities? So I've put a couple of devices that are called personal FM systems up at the top. And again, sometimes these will change over time. Things get discontinued and we go to something else. On the left here, we have a Domino, which is a newer device for us, but it is available in our lending library. So this is one where one person would wear a transmitter and the other person would have a receiver. They're often worn around the neck. As you can see, the ones on the right, they both have loops, so they're both being worn. You can wear them with headphones or connect them to hearing aids. But these are just a nice way to get like a speaker to an individual in the audience And you don't have to have all that background noise of the rest of the audience, whether it's a classroom or church or just a presentation of some sort. This is a nice way to get that information right to the individual. They're probably kind of pricey just for everyday conversation. They do run, I think, around $1,000. And then below that is what's called a sound field. So really nice for a group of people that, hearing loss or attentional issues. This one pictured is a red cat. If you're interested in more information about the possibilities for listening devices in a group setting, there is a link when this comes out to assisted listening devices for houses of worship. It just did a really good job explaining all the different types of devices available. So I did include that on this slide. All right. Angelina. Okay, we're going to move on. If there's no questions about the hearing technology, we are going to go on to vision. And you can feel free to put a comment or a question in the Q&A at any time. It is a little different without chat, but you're welcome to use the Q&A. All right, so for vision, we're going to just kind of cover some devices for reading text, for navigating, and then I'll touch on organization. All right. Because when we're talking about aging, we are talking about the tasks that enable us to stay in our home. So that's really what I kind of want to focus on, is what are those things that really enable us to keep getting the information, having those conversations, doing the tasks that enable us to stay in our home. So reading from like a hard copy or paper, I think everybody's pretty familiar with a handheld magnifier. The kind of iconic image of Sherlock Holmes is out there, but there's other types of magnifiers. The one I have pictured here is a pendant magnifier. So they come in different styles. This one is a bit ornate. It has some silver on it, little dot of turquoise even. But they're worn like a necklace around your neck. The nice thing about the pendant magnifier is that it's always right where you need it. It could get scratched, but if you wear it under your shirt or over your shirt, it's just always there. So you pick something up, your magnifier is there, you check out, it is for spot reading. So you're not going to read a newspaper or a book with a pendant magnifier, but you've already shut off your other device. You want to see what page you're on in the book. You have that pendant magnifier. There it is, 97. Great, I'm done. You want to check out, is this today's paper? It is. Great, I'm going to set it here. It's yesterday's. I'm going to throw it in the recycling. Whatever that spot magnification needs are, the pendant magnifier is a really affordable and convenient way to get that information. Tons of people say, I have magnifiers all over my house, which is great, but also if you put one on in the morning as a pendant, you might not have to have them everywhere. Digital magnifiers, I have two images of digital magnifiers. One is a handheld, one is a desktop. The handheld is a little bit big to carry around with you to the grocery store, but it does have a nice size screen. This one has easy to see and use buttons at the bottom. You can change that text. It has digital image, so you can change the color, obviously the size of that. Very, very nice. You can get great images on these. The one below, you might not be able to tell, but it's a desktop magnifier, but it folds up. So it folds really small into basically the size of a laptop. This one also comes with a distance camera that is an option on this particular model, which is a Cloverbook Pro. But again, you can change that text and manipulate it to so that you can see it as clearly as possible. And this is a good way to read a book if you still want to use a physical book and take in that information. But also looking at bills, looking at letters, anything like that. These are really helpful. The other thing we can do is use what's an OCR scanning app. So if you have a smartphone or a tablet, you can download one of these apps. I do have KNFB Reader, and after I made this, I realized that they have changed the name to One Step Reader. Believe that's the think I'm saying it right. So it is no longer KNFB. It does have the same image, but it is One Step Reader. Or Seeing AI, which is a great OCR app. Seeing AI is only available on iOS. But there's lots of different apps that you can just hold your phone over and it will start reading text, or take a picture and it will read that text. So lots of different ways to access information. All right. But what if you don't have paper? So of course there's digital text. Well, I did include the Wolfner player, kind of sliding that on my digital slide. It is barely hanging on. It is a MP3 file, so I felt like I could put it on the digital slide. If you're working with folks with vision loss who like to read, I highly recommend going to the state library, Wolfner, the library service, and signing folks up for that service. The picture on the top shows the player. It shows how the blue folder is how the cartridges are mailed. The cartridges are easy to put in, the player is easy to use. So for nearly anyone, this is accessible. It does, you can just use it without headphones, you can use it with headphones. They even have headsets or headphones that are for folks with hearing loss. The other option with Wolfner is the Bard mobile app. So that is basically the Wolfner app. And so anything, I think just about anything you can get on a cassette, you can get on the app. It's fairly easy to use. It's very convenient. It works well. So I highly recommend that. But also there's other options. I have a Voice Dream Reader, which will read, it will read the image, digital text out loud. VoiceOver Starter is a way to learn how to use VoiceOver, which is screen reading. And then below are two programs. So ZoomText is an easy to navigate screen magnification program that does have a reader option. So this is for folks who don't want to have to go into their computer settings and change things. Maybe they don't have that skill. They need different things at different times. And so ZoomText is a super easy to customize and use. And it's great for screen magnification. And like I said, it does have that reader option. JAWS is a screen reader, and Fusion is the combination of both of those programs. So the screen reader is, of course, going to read all the information on the screen. Oh, and I'm getting an information that Voice Dream Reader and Voice Dream Scanner recently got bought out and the names have changed. It is hard to keep up, but thank you for that, Chad. All right. Let's move on. So another thing to think about when it comes to vision loss is really navigation. So I'm starting with navigation around the home. So I have a picture here. It's a little bit busier than I'd like, but it's a great thing to think about. So in this picture, there's kind of a really light gray and white carpet, and the furniture in this room is dark blue. So if I'm walking through my room, I can easily see the difference between my carpet and my furniture. But then if you'll notice, there's a table that is white. So if I'm looking down, I'm standing up and walking through, I can see my couch, but where the edge of the table is might be really hard to discern. So just that idea of contrast can be something that's really easily overlooked, but can make a big difference. So you might throw a little tablecloth even on this table, and that's darker, and then I can see. And then if my coffee cups are white, if I'm drinking coffee or tea in my living room, when I set that light cup on that dark tablecloth, I'll be able to see it. So just always thinking about that contrast. If I'm going to leave my table white, well, if I'm drinking my tea, I'm going to want to use a dark cup so I can see where it is, or at least put my white cup on a dark plate or coaster. But always kind of being aware of how to make things stand out. And, in any room. So I use the example of, what if you've got a light colored toothbrush in a light colored toothbrush holder, and it's on a shelf with a white background, white wall behind it, or white tile. And then how do you even know where to grab? So if your toothbrush cup is dark or your toothbrush, what are the things that are easily seen that can really make all those tasks easier? The next picture I have is of the stairs. So if I'm going upstairs, these stairs are great. I have white risers, brown treads with a black kind of anti-skid, whatever they call stair carpet on them. And that's great. But when I'm coming down those stairs, everything I see is dark. So I have to be super careful navigating these stairs. The other option would be if my stairs were painted white, the treads and the risers, and then I put that dark carpet there and nosed it up to the edge of my step, then I can see where my step is, and I can see where the riser is, and I can maybe navigate those steps a little more easily. Again, just making sure everything is really doable. Task lighting can be super important. Having your curtains open. I work with people that say, I can read in the morning. And that's because they have good light coming into their room. Well, if you have good task lighting, you might be able to read further in the day. And you can use higher wattage bulbs. Sometimes our seniors don't think about that. So, really getting enough light in areas can add a lot. All right, I think I have one more vision slide. All right, navigating out. Oh no, we're just on navigating. Okay, around the town. Glare is an issue that I think a lot of folks don't think about with vision loss. We think about magnification, we think about light, but glare is another issue that can really affect how people see. And so you can use filtering glasses. So those would be glasses of different colors, basically, and to help deal with glare. So white canes. I am a fan of the white cane, and I often will point out that there are different styles of white canes, and you can use them even if you don't want to use a white cane, having something to give you information. So a white cane that is used for mobility is going to be long, have a tip, you know, how you have a style of walking with that, you get training on that. There's a lot of different tips, so you can use one that suits, you know, that person's style. But also just having any kind of lightweight cane to help figure out if something is a shadow or a step, a puddle or a dip, things like this. So there's lots of ways to get information that, especially when you're outside with the bright sunlight, sometimes it's hard to take in that information. There are smart canes, which are really interesting, because if you think about a white cane, you are checking the ground. It is giving you all that information about the walking surface. Smart canes actually help detect what is above. So if there's a tree branch that's hanging over the sidewalk, say, that the woman pictured here is about to walk into, her cane is not going to detect that. But with a smart cane, it will actually detect up and send a signal and let you know that there's something in your way. So that's kind of cool. Those smart canes can also do, they can also be hooked up to your phone and help you with navigation. It's kind of cool. And there's another picture I have of a guy jogging in the winter with a high visibility vest on. And I love this picture because it really looks like his vest is glowing. It is just a picture. It is not glowing. But I think a lot of times, you know, we don't think about our clothing, or if we do, we don't think about really making other people see us. I ride a bicycle, and I think a lot about making sure cars, who every one of them is bigger than I am, that they can see me. And so I think about, you know, for folks, you know, using wheelchairs or folks who have vision loss, it is really important for the other guy, you know, to see all of us. And so having that high visibility clothing can really help, even if it's reflective tape on your jacket or something like that. So it's just kind of smart. And there are a variety of turn-by-turn navigation apps. I put one of them below, Azarillo, but there's lots of turn-by-turn navigation. There's also devices that can help with turn-by-turn navigation, lots of other things. But I'm not going to show all of that. We are going to go on to organization around the home with vision loss on the next slide. There we go. Okay, so you know, just these are more tips and tricks. There are a couple of things, you know, but a lot of it is just kind of thinking creatively and how do we kind of navigate around with vision loss. So I love the idea of bins in the fridge. You know, this is an easy way to organize, especially if you have somebody else shopping for you. They don't know where you want, you know, your yogurt and your cheese unless they're told. But here, if you have a bin labeled dairy, then you can have all your yogurts and cheese in the same one. And then you're not getting confused which is the yogurt and which is the pudding. You know, because maybe they're in separate bins. So, you know, so things that can look alike could have their own spot. You know, there's lots of ways you can alphabetize things like spices. you can put large print labels. If the jars are small, you can just have the first letter be super large, and you know, then you can help decipher out from there which spice it is. Is it your cumin or your coriander? Labeling pantry shelves can be helpful, and whether this is a word label or even color coding. So, you know, all my fruit is going to be, all my fruit cans of fruit are going to be in this red section, and all of my cans of soup are going to be in this color section because I can see those two colors. Using for, you know, for easy tactile identification, you can use rubber bands or magnets on cans to help identify which are which. Sometimes even if you pull it out, you can see it, but if it's in a cabinet that's dark, you might just feel this one has a rubber band up kind of high. These are my beans. This one has that, you know, that funny shaped magnet. This is my soup. All right. So just different ways to make it easy. Around the bedroom, sock clips. Sock clips are cheap, and they're a great organizer for folks with vision loss, folks with kids, you know, all kinds of folks. This is something that you would take your socks off after you've worn them, get your clip them together, throw them in the laundry, throw them in the wash, throw them in the dryer, throw them in the drawer. And they are together 100% of the time. So really easy to use. There's a couple different styles. These ones were the most readily available on Amazon, so I threw a picture of those on here. So what about your outfits? It's sometimes hard to tell, is this my brown shirt or my black shirt? So if you have things that you like to wear together, why not get some laundry bags, wash them and dry them, you know, and then, you know, fold them up and put them back in that bag, and then put them on the shelf. And then it's the, you know, the shirt and the shorts that you like to wear together right in the bag. It's important to have a med organizer that works. So, you know, whatever that is, there's a whole lot on those, but just making sure that it works for the individual. I do have a picture here of the Ellie grid. It does have very small lights, but the nice thing about the Ellie grid as a med planner is you get to dump the whole bottle or dump a number of pills into one section, and you don't have to pick up pill by pill and put it in each daily, you know, little compartment. And so it's easy maybe just to dump those pills, and then the med organizer will tell me it's time to take this one with a beep, or on the companion app, or on the device itself. So just another different, it's kind of an unusual med organizer. And, you know, you can use lots of things to identify things, lots of like hair ties, rubber bands. You know, I think of like making sure if you have a cabinet with your toothpaste, but also with some, you know, antifungal foot cream, you don't want to mix those two up. So maybe you put that hair tie around your antifungal foot cream so that you never confuse it with your toothpaste. All right.
Scott, we have a question real quick, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Jill, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. I was just wondering, I have not had, I've just had several interruptions, and I haven't, the information presented is excellent, and there's some things that I wanted to follow back up on, like the sock clips. So I was just wondering, is there going to be a audio recording that I can look at later so I can go back and go over the things that I've missed?
You know what? Not only will there be an audio recording, but we have probably a little bit late in the game, but we are doing it now nonetheless. We are now making available a list of every device we talk about, and whether or not we have it for loan, and a link to where you can find it.
Oh, wonderful.
So that will, I believe it will go out in an email to you along with the when the recording becomes available.
Okay, that's
And then
great.
if you have any questions, you just contact us. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Scout. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for your question.
All right.
All right. And Angelina, we're ready to go to the next slide. All right. Now we're going to talk a little bit about dexterity. Whoop, okay. I got a few minutes left, but this isn't a long category, so we can go right to the next slide. I did put a picture up. There's hands gripping a bar because what's her name? Simone Biles came back, and I thought that was a good image for our dexterity and gripping section. A little gymnastics reference. All right, we can go to the next slide. All right, so gripping or grip strength. Loss of grip strength is not uncommon in seniors, but it can happen to any of us. And a lot of things we need to grip and open are in the kitchen, and so things can become more difficult. Things can become a little bit dangerous. And so there's, we want to look at how do we make things easier. So I do have on here just a lot of different items for gripping around the kitchen. So at the top, I have a large handle. It's called the Comfort Grip fork. I have a T-handled rocker knife. It's easier. It's more ergonomic. It just is an option for cutting. And then a lightweight, what is it called? A lightweight rocker knife. It is actually very lightweight, and it's also got kind of a foamy handle. So the first picture on the bottom is actually a pivot cutting board. So the knife end is held in place, and then that knife pivots around to help cut. So sometimes that can make it a little easier because you don't have to use your strength to keep that knife end down. All you have to do is get through your item that you're chopping. But then opening is another whole thing that is can be an issue with grip strength. So the first opener is just shaped like a J, and it is basically for those ring pull tabs, and that slots into that ring tab and just rolls right back and opens that up. It takes much less strength. The second two are jar openers, and so the first one goes on various size jars and just gives you a lot more torque because you've got a handle there to use. Same with the second one, but it's got gripper teeth and a V, so basically any size jar that's going to slot into that and really give you a lot more leverage for opening. Okay, so those are just some gripping. But what about carrying things? This is something I think about. My wife has arthritis, and there are times that she's more prone to dropping things. So what about the things that we have to carry around the house? Well, if we use our hands more than that grip strength. So on the slides, I have two pictures of trays. One has two handles. It's kind of an ornate one, but you could put rest those handles basically further back towards your thumbs, and you're not carrying any one item you're opposing your thumb. You're just using your hand to support that tray, which is maybe an easier option. Same thing with the tray below, but it just has one handle, so you can put your hand all the way through, or even pick up the whole tray from the bottom. So of course there's lots of different kinds of trays. These are not something that we have here, but you can get any kind of carrying tray that might help somebody move items, from one room to another. taking things out to the car, whatever it is. All right, and then on the other side of the screen, I have a couple of laundry options. The one on the far right is an OT who wanted to come up with a one-handed solution for carrying laundry. So she took the like TheraBands and wrapped them around the laundry basket, so it became just like a front pack instead of a backpack, and she's carrying that laundry basket up the stairs anywhere she wants. She still has her good arm free to hold the handrail, which is important. We don't want to make people less safe. So you still want to be able to hold the handrail to do the things you need to do. Another option is the laundry turtle, which I think is just very fun. I happen to be a big fan of items that have fun names, like the pan pickle and the laundry turtle. So this one, you put it in your washer or dryer, especially front loaders, turn the washer or dryer, and basically the clothes will fall into the laundry turtle, and then you can pull the whole thing out, put it to the other, to the dryer, or take it to, where you're going to fold. It's just easier than gripping each piece of laundry and pulling it out, easier than using a reacher. Lots of ways that this relatively low-cost device makes transferring laundry pretty great, much simpler. All right. I also have a few writing supports because when, if we're losing our dexterity or our grip strength, there's lots of low tech and some high tech options for writing. So very quickly, the writing bird is pictured on the left. Guided hands, which is a kind of a newer, less well-known device, really supports the whole arm for writing. And then the functional hand is a way to just change that grip for writing or other things, even toothbrushing or anything else. Those three we have available in our loan library. The one in the center middle is Dragon Professional, which is a speech-to-text program. And also teaching folks maybe how to use Dragon, maybe how to use speaking to do text on their phone, that kind of higher tech, is a great option for folks who have trouble writing or with their vision. I mean, I think talking your texts and having your phone read them to you is great for lots of conditions. Okay. Do you have a quick question for the Bard mobile app? Does it require the same referral process as the Wolfner library? I'm quite sure it does. Actually, I got the Bard app, but I had to be given permission to get it. I got it so I could show it to other people. But I do believe you have to meet those same requirements to use the Bard app. If that's not something that somebody wants to do, things like the Libby app or lots of other library services now have an app to use. So, so Bard is great, but there's other things if the application is a barrier. I think, all right, we have one more slide, just things to consider with technology. We'll get through this. You have to get a device. Sometimes that is a big barrier. Lots of questions. What do I do? What do I get? What is right for me? Make sure to remember that your local demonstration centers are a great resource to get information about which device is right for me. We have a lending library. You're welcome to come in here if you're in the Kansas City area and try out those devices. Learn how to use a device. And I have an image of a struggle bus. Yes, there can be challenges to learning to use devices. Again, those demonstration centers are going to be useful. YouTube is a great way to get information, and then maintaining your device. And there's an image that is like a stamped update required. So making sure that if you help folks get a device, that they know how to use it. Quick example of, I've talked a lot about the Handy Bar over the years. And I just ran into somebody who was saying, oh, it just doesn't work for us. It kept bruising my husband. And I was like, what are you talking about? He kept accidentally sitting on it. Well, you know, they tried it one way. Nobody had ever shown them how to use it. They tried it. It fit so well. They thought that it went one way, and really they were just using it wrong. And so when I showed her how it should go in her car for the most ease of access, she was like, we're going to get this back out. He is going to be so happy to have this device actually working for him and safer. So, you know, just really making sure that if you're recommending things, that you have enough information and that you share that, and that kind of follow up to make sure that your client is not having those struggles using something. So, and use us as needed. All right. There are lots of different ways to fund your technology. There are some examples in our STAR that will be included in the slides when you get them later. And here's a slide for our service, some of our services. I talked about our TAP programs. There's you can find all of that on our website, at.mo.gov. I've talked about our loan program. We have demonstration programs. We have financial loans, all kinds of things, all available on our website. And I did not leave Angelina much time. Sorry about that.
All good. As Scout said, all of this gets recorded and sent out in a recap email, and we have our new device list as well. So that will go out if you have to jump off, but I will go ahead and go through these real quick. I'm also going to send out a closing poll really quick. If you wouldn't mind filling that out, that would be great. And if anybody has any final questions as we're wrapping up here, feel free to go ahead and put those in the Q&A. So for our Missouri Open Door series, our next tech one will be September 27th, and that will be on universal design. We also have our benefit series, which I mentioned earlier, that talks about the formal government paid services. Right now we're going over Medicare, so the next one will be September 13th, talking about Medicare prevention and wellness benefits. The mods are, the technology series is the 4th Wednesdays of every month. That benefit series will be the 2nd Wednesday of every month. And those are both from 12:30 to 1:30. We also have the Missouri Family to Family Resource Center under the Institute for Human Development. Their website is there for any resources. We have Good Life groups that are hosted monthly for interactive peer learning. We also have the CTLC and Family to Family quarterly stakeholder meetings. And we have charting life course training workshops. You can find those on lifecoursestools.org if you wanted to learn more about the charting the life course side of what was presented today. And then we also have, this is just our website, any additional information you are looking for, and feel free to reach out to either Scout or I if you have any questions or need help finding anything that we talked about today. And thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time.